Hello, HomeLife Academy. I hope you can help me. I have just pulled my third grade son out because he was being bullied. I just couldn't send him back another day. And one of my friends said to call HomeLife Academy. So what do I do?
Right, absolutely. Unfortunately, that is a lot of phone calls right now. So usually we would say once you get enrolled, wait till you get your email of a confirmation of enrollment and teacher verification email to pull your student. But you know what? If you're going through bullying or anything where you fear for your student's life, please pull them. Don't wait for us. Go ahead and pull them. But yeah, you're not alone. A lot of families are going through the same situation right now. So don't hold back. Go ahead and pull them. We'll take care of you. We'll take care of the rest. So as soon as you get enrolled, which can be done on our website at homelifeacademy.com, again, you'll receive your email confirmation of enrollment and teacher verification, and we'll reach out to the school for you. We'll go ahead and get those records pulled to us for you, so you don't have to talk to the schools if you don't want to, but you can. But that way you can get your student home and get them home where they're safe and rebuild that, relationship with your student, just letting them know, like, it's okay. You're home, you're safe, you're here. Now the fun can begin. You don't have that stress and anxiety of going to school anymore.
We get these phone calls, and a lot of the moms feel like they are in such a unique position that no one else has been there before. But the reality is that we have been there before.
Right. They start to panic just a little bit as soon as the kid comes home, which is normal. It's okay. But I feel like this is where the big takeaway is. We all have, or most of us have, that public school mindset. Oh my goodness, I have to have my kids sit at the table or sit at a computer for so many hours a day. And that's really not the case, because with homeschoolers, they're always learning. And so this is where a lot of the families tend to panic, is how do I make sure we're getting enough hours? How do I make sure we're, getting enough days? What if they're not sitting down during their book work all the time? Like, what do I do? But it's okay. Like, you did the first step. You brought them home. That's one of the biggest steps to take right there. So I like to congratulate you on that one, because that one's a hard step. So
That's
it's
the
like
hardest
you got
thing.
them home.
It is the hardest thing.
Is. It's like,
that.
Oh Lord, now my kids are here all the time.
That's the hardest part.
So yep, you've got the hardest step down. You made that choice. They're here. So that's why I say, especially to get out of that public school mindset, not only for adults, but for kids, take a couple days, focus on the relationship, take the fun field trips, go to the library, go to the zoo, go take some nature hikes. Just put the books away. Don't even think about them when you first get them home, because they're already like panicked. Not only are their kids panicked, the parents are panicked. Like, everybody's kind of in that little panic stage. But that's okay. Take the time at home, focus on the relationship, kind of de-school, and then work yourself into a little bit at a time. We're not rushing here to the end. So a lot of our conversations and phone calls we get once they get home is, now what do I do? Like, okay, so we have the books, we have this, how many hours, how many days? And it doesn't have to go like that.
This is the same boat that lots of families are in. I talked to a mom a couple years ago. We talked, about curriculum, and she put some on order. She ordered right while we were on the phone, but she said, well, they're saying it's going to take 3 days for my curriculum to come. So what am I going to do in those 3 days? And so I said, well, is there something your daughter's interested in that you could just go with, and have some fun and get into something? And she said, well, she has actually been talking and saving money to buy a little, I think it was a teddy bear hamster. Just go ahead and have some fun and let her buy the hamster and get everything all set up, and then she can start school, right? Well, this mom called me back after 3 days, and she was so excited. You would not believe what happened. So she also had a son who was still in school, they worked together on a little budget and what she could afford, the little hamster and the cage and all the things. And she said, oh my gosh, I'm looking at it now as a homeschool mom thinking they're doing math. She had never seen them work this well together on a little project. And then he ended up saying, Mom, can I homeschool too? So she brought both of them home. But it even gets better, because not only were they doing all the stuff, but she started looking online for a little pocket pouch so that when she went out, she could carry her little hamster with her. And she couldn't find any online, so she got out all the sewing stuff and the material and the whole bit, and she made herself one. Well, the story even gets better, because she ended up going into business and starting an online business selling these. Can you even believe that? There is such value in the real life experiences that your kids love to do. Let them go with it. Let them do it, because they are learning valuable skills that they could not really learn in a workbook.
Now, what about if you don't have the curriculum? How do you earn the credits? Like, how could she earn credits by just having a hamster and making this, little carry-on bag for them?
We do have high schoolers who don't use a lot of curriculum. They unschool. One mom was just convinced her son was not going to get to graduate because he lacked 2 science credits. So I got to questioning her, well, what does he do? Well, we live on a farm. He spends all his time with the farmer. And what does he do with the farmer? Oh, well, he knows everything about crops and rotating in the soil and what to grow and what, he knew everything about it. In fact, he wanted to be a farmer. That is agri-science right there. What else does he do? And it turns out he did all the animals as well. He would be telling the vet what was wrong with the animals when they came. He would be the one birthing the animals. He would be the one taking care of them. All that is science. So anyway, it ended up that she said, I can't wait till he gets home. He's going to be so excited that he can graduate. So animal science and agri-science. I think of it this way. Like, if my daughter were getting married and I was looking for a photographer, would I pick the kid who had taken a couple of photography classes, or would I choose someone like my daughter-in-law who has been working with her dad, a photographer, in the darkroom developing pictures, taking pictures, going on shoots her whole life? Never a class, no grades. She knows what she's doing. You don't have to necessarily have a class. We will help you with the title. We'll help you with the description if you need help. But all these things are going to count for grades and credits.
How do I know that they're learning where they're supposed to learn? Well, the great thing with HomeLife Academy is you don't have to do testing. You don't. You can if you want, and we have the resources for you, but you don't have to. Some kids have a little bit of testing anxiety, and they struggle, and that's okay. I was one of them, but thankfully with HomeLife Academy, you don't have to do the testing if you don't want to. And if you choose to and you think they have anxiety, read it to them. They don't have to sit down and read it and feel like they're taking a full-on test. You can read it to them, do it with them, or just watch over them. And you may see a difference. My kid is learning. They do understand this. They are comprehending, and that's okay. There are some days that we take what we're learning with school and build it with Legos. So, if we're learning language arts or we're learning science and we talk about something specific, can you build that with Legos? Let me see what you can do with those Legos to incorporate what we're doing with school. And math can be the same way. That is how we taught my son how to do multiplication, division, adding, subtracting is with Legos.
Do I have to put in certain subjects, when we register?
So when you go to enroll, if you aren't sure what you're going to do yet, it's okay. Don't panic. You can actually go through the enrollment without putting your education plan in if you don't know what you're doing, or if you want to speak to your counselor first. That is okay. Again, that is what we're here for. But if you are ready and you know what you're ready to do, again, every state's a little different. And so Fine example is most states, pretty much all of them, you have to have at least a math or a language. And so for math, again, you could put the Legos, you can put building blocks in there. And if you decide you want to use any kind of work pages, that you printed offline, or if you just want to make your own pages, you could put that in there. Again, it counts. Literally everything is a learning experience, and everything honestly counts. And if for some reason I can't figure out how to get that in the education plan, I can get to another counselor who can help us with that one. We have counselors for every single grade level. We have counselors for our gifted students, for our struggling learners, for autistic children, for ADHD, for IEPs. We have a counselor literally for everything. We are here to make this homeschool journey as easy on you parents as possible. One, to make sure your students continue to love learning, and to make sure that your relationships still blossom and you don't have to worry about all the craziness behind the scenes. That's our job. That's what we're here for. When it comes to curriculum, we can have that conversation of, how does your student learn best? Do they like to do stuff online? Do they like video games? Do they like board games? Do they like workbooks? Do they like to read? We're just going to find out, what does your student like and how do they like to learn? That way we can go ahead and point you to some curriculums that you can take a look at to see what would work best for you guys. And if for some reason it doesn't, that's okay. Give us a call back. We can tweak things and make it just for you guys. You don't have to buy the curriculum. That is my favorite thing about homeschooling, is the flexibility and freedom to do what we want. Not what the school wants, but what we want. So if you want to buy the curriculum, if you want to check them out, online, or the workbooks, feel free to. You're more than welcome. Again, this is your decision. You know what's best for your family. It doesn't have to be expensive to homeschool.
As a rule, you don't have to sit and count every hour, but if it's a curriculum, if it's a year-long curriculum, then that's a credit. If it's one semester, like health, that's going to be a half a credit. Now, what if you are doing what we're talking about and you're really not using a curriculum? You're going to be thinking about, how many hours a week are they spending on this? Is it about 5 hours a week the entire year? That's really going to be a credit. So a credit is going to be about 150 hours a year, and a half a credit about 75 hours. My daughter, for her PE, she had a horse, and I knew she was doing over 150 hours a year. So that's going to be a credit. Don't be afraid to do this. Don't be afraid to jump in. We all did that. We all jumped in. The scariest thing, especially when you have a high schooler, is to pull them out of school and homeschool. Because you think, how in the world can I, the mom who have a high school education maybe, how can I replace 7 teachers who have degrees? How in the world could I do that? And yet you can, because you don't have to be a teacher per se. You are going to be a mentor. You're going to be learning alongside. You're going to be using curricula. It's not public school, and that's usually what we know. That's not what it is. It's a family. It's homeschooling, but that first word is home. And so this is your home. What does your homeschool day look like? Well, what does your family look like? That's what your homeschool is going to look like. I guarantee you, if you come to my house, you probably would not have known what they were learning. You probably wouldn't have said, oh, they're doing school, because my daughter most likely is going to be in her bed. She's going to be sitting there with her little laptop pillow and has the light. She had all the things, but she loved to just sit in her bed and do all the things. Was she learning? Yes. She graduated in college, number 2 in her class.
The first piece of advice I can give you as a homeschool mom, and it took me forever to learn this: do not compare your kids to others. at all. And I know that is so much easier said than done. That's the first thing we want to do is, so and so's doing school. How's your school day? What are they learning? And then we start comparing. And we can't do that because, one kid may learn differently than the other. One may learn faster than the other. Doesn't mean the one that's not learning as fast is a struggling learner. They just learn a little bit different, a little bit slower, and that's okay.
Plans change. We are very flexible. We help you with that. We help you through it. I always say, listen, life is not getting in the way of your schooling. That is your schooling. No matter what's going on, I tell you what, we've been there and done that, and we can help you through it.